So let's go back to the tackle now, your show, the Gerald Bitok show. Ulianza lini?
The show we started in, first of all, the show in itself is a corona child.
Okay.
It's a corona child.
Yes.
You remember when COVID-19 came, there were the restriction of movement.
Yeah.
And now, you can imagine now, the content that we're talking about are things that we used to do on the mainstream media, on the regular. Now it comes to a situation whereby you're told you cannot move, you cannot go to TV anymore, you cannot go to radio anymore, we're just staying at home. But these are conversations that we still need to have. So I sat in a corner and asked myself, okay, these are things that the people need to hear, again, to continue. As much as we're on a lockdown, these are conversations we cannot stop having. So I just started having live sessions on Facebook on Saturdays in the afternoon, just rattling around, talking about the issues. I remember I started with the issues of maize. That time we were having a lot of problems with maize in Rift Valley. The prices were really bad. And we are beginning to have a conversation around moving from maize to avocado, you know? And I said, man, we cannot do this. What about tomorrow when the avocado prices go down? What happens? We move again on avocado, we go to Mapera? So we're having that conversation on ensuring that the farmer gets more value. Then I realized that people are getting interested in the conversation. I talked to my guys that we used to do analysis with in the mainstream media. I told them, guys, I mean, we can keep this conversation running. Can we still continue pushing this thing? Then you remember now Zoom at that time was a in thing. And I said, okay, the guests that we still wanted to have, we can still have them. The guys, the other panelists, we can still pull them on Zoom. So we started as a Corona baby, I think around May. Then the thing within 2 months had really grown. Around July, that's when the government started now relaxing at least the restriction on movement. And I said, well, let's make this bigger. I said, let me put up a studio. So we came, we looked for a studio, we put it up, we partnered with a studio. And that is where we've been. We've grown within that time. If I can show you a first interview, you not even believe that we've really come that far. So people think the tackle is probably 2 years old or 5 years old. They think it's something that's taken time to grow. Yeah. But it's something which is young, and I can tell you it has come from a point of also building a reputation that people can trust when it comes to information. Yes. You see, today, people think gossip sells. It's not sustainable. Malice, people think malice sells. It's not sustainable. Because malice is dangerous as well. It can backfire on you anytime, and you don't get the credibility. So what we've tried to do is that we have conversations that are really honest and very integral in terms of integrity. So that's a matter we do. We've been from July then, probably we are 6 months old. Yeah, 6 months old.
Wow.
That's old, yeah.
That's rapid growth. So the tackle you shoot on a daily basis, live?
Mm-hmm. The show runs every single morning.
Every single morning,
from Monday to Friday.
Yes.
From Monday to Friday. And one would argue, okay, what do we really discuss there every single morning? By the way, George, I wake up every single morning at 4 a.m. Just prepare for the tackle. At 4 a.m. I wake up at 4 a.m. I spend my time maybe 1 hour and a half preparing, think about the things that are happening around the world, because I believe information is power. If there's a way you can know things before every other person knows about them, then it means you're ahead of them by a day, literally. If you get information at 3 a.m. that someone will get at 10 a.m., then you're ahead of them one day ahead of them. So that's the matter. I wake up in the morning at 4 a.m. I spend 1 hour and a half preparing for the show, looking at the content, what's happening in the world, and all that. That also shapes now the discussions we're going to have. One thing I've really moved away from is interviews. People are tired of interviews. People want conversations. So we've moved away from those things of question and answer. If someone makes a detour, then you're lost because you're like, hey, umejibu swali yenye nilikuwa niulize at 2 hours or at 1 hour and a half. So we try to have conversations, and people wonder. When I invite guests, they are like, so what are we coming to talk about? I tell them, you come. You'll talk about what you find there. Because things change. The way the world is, things are so rapid. We could be talking here right now with you, George, and maybe a president has been shot. The conversation changes dramatically. You start talking about that thing. We could be talking now, and maybe, something crazy happens where we are, and conversation changes completely. So I try to have conversations with these people Monday to Friday, every single morning. And there's something also we are doing. We want to come up with a channel, a bigger digital channel, 100% run online. You know, people argue, why don't you want to get licensing? Licensing is getting to a box where the government wants to determine what you put out there. So you want to create a space where there's a lot of democracy in terms of information and media. And we are creating this space even for people like Ride with George. You come in, the channel is there for us, and we give you space to do your content so that we build a bigger family of content creators. This is what I tell people. You see, the same way you see border guys, or even you guys as taxi riders, you have your own organizations where you agitate for your rights and all that. It's time the digital space as well becomes so democratized. We have a bigger pie, a bigger house where we all sit in and we demand. You saw that the government is saying they want to start taxing us. Now they want to start taxing George, who is running an interview. They are fueled their car. I'm riding free with George. And then someone says they want to tax it. So we need to look again at those things. But again, before we argue about the liberty of content creators, then we must come together and build a bigger muscle. So that's what I'm also thinking long term, so that we don't only end up at Ride with George, we don't end up at the tackle. We build a bigger family that can be able to agitate for content more and for give people the democracy of media and content consumption, so that we have a bigger space. So that's a match.
Now let's talk about, I guess you could call your show an investment. It's an investment of your time. Of your skills, resources as well, and you're putting in, like you said, you started off with, you had the humble beginnings, then you evolved and grew your equipment, you moved to a studio, partnerships. Are you getting any returns on that, or what was your expectation coming in or doing this when you're doing this?
See, first of all, how we started is, it was just about the conversations that I needed to have. That is why it started. But then again, I realized content is money, and when you look actually outside, it's easy for you to make money even as you have your feet up on the table, on the coffee table at home, if you are smart enough. If you look at the way the Americans do things, is that they have really gone big on information. When you go to America, data mining is something serious. I mean, it's something serious. Even when you look at Facebook, the reason why we're on Facebook every day is because those guys have noticed and they have realized that the more people you bring into one corner, the more money you make. Have you ever even right now, if you're having a conversation, if you make a mistake of talking about something, maybe let's talk about cameras. The next time you open your internet or Facebook, you'll see people are selling cameras all over. That is data that they take from you, and that's content as well that you speak about. People are making money from you as well. So the question is, what will stop you from making money from them too? Instead of going to waste time and idle on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, could you also make money while at it? As much as we started as a conversation, I was just interested with the conversation part. And then one day when I received an email that you can monetize.
Yes.
Have you qualify for monetization? And that's all we want big. And that's why now my focus now shifted to producing quality. And that's when now I realized that I need to also focus on the kind of content that I'm getting out there, the quality of production and everything else that comes with it. Because I realize now, as I'm doing this, then I need to make money from it. And the inspiration to make money, what this is all about, George. Creating content is a very expensive affair. It's not something you do with nothing. It's content, it's money. Even time alone is money for you. Waking up for me at every single day at 4 a.m. is money. It's time that I've spent. So it's money for me. Paying employees to work in the studio is money as well that has been spent. So I got the inspiration of, by the way, this thing can be money. And I can tell you, Joe, there's money online, there's money in content, and I would encourage anybody who has a talent to create content.